Another day, another round of leaks. Yesterday evening at around 11 o'clock, the Chinese leaker just dropped a brand new list which is packed full of stuff. So today, I'm gonna be going over all vehicles and giving you my opinions. Now, starting off strong, we have the F15E Strike Eagle. This is essentially an F-15 that was further developed specifically for air-to-ground capabilities. Now, of course, this thing gets access to Mark 82s, GBUs, which are laser-guided bombs, JDAMs, which are GPS-guided bombs, AIM-7 Sparrows, AIM-9 Sidewinders, AIM-120s, and of course Mavericks. There's a bunch of different weapons that this thing gets access to, but these are probably the ones we're going to be seeing in War Thunder because most of the weapons that the F-15E carries are not properly implemented or aren't even in the game. This thing also has a higher service ceiling, it has slightly stronger engines, but it is quite heavier compared to the F-15C. In my opinion, this is a fantastic jet. I love the Strike Eagle. It is an absolutely beautiful plane, and I can't wait to play this thing in War Thunder. Next on the list, we have something very, very interesting. It's gonna be the F17 Nighthawk. Now, honestly, I have no idea what Gaijin is thinking. I don't really know how they're gonna implement stealth capabilities into the game. I just assume this is gonna be very strong for countering Pantsers in ground realistic and probably very good for bombing bases in simulator. Either way, the F-117 is an absolutely beautiful plane. I love this thing. It is iconic. It is just the pinnacle of stealth. It's so funky looking that I just can't, I love this thing, man. As most people know, one was actually shot down over Serbia, I think, during the Balkan Wars. I'm not really sure. They made a bunch of propaganda. Those posters are absolutely iconic, if you know which ones I'm talking about. And this is going to be a squadron vehicle, so as soon as this thing drops, if it drops, I'm gonna start researching it because this thing is so goddamn cool. Moving on, we have the Su-34. The Su-34 is a further development of the Su-27 meant to replace the Su-24. It's essentially a twin cockpit Su-27 meant for striking. It can carry a bunch of dumb bombs, guided bombs, GPS guided bombs, tactical cruise missiles, and of course it gets R-27s, R-73s, and R-77s. This thing, I mean, it's essentially a twin-engine Su-27 meant for ground striking, so this thing, alongside the F-15E, just makes sense in my opinion. I'm not too big of a fan of this plane. I think it looks quite ugly in my opinion. The Su-34 is just a very, very large plane. I'm not that big of a fan of large planes, although I do like the F-15E, but the Su-34 just doesn't do it for me. Either way, I'm happy that Russia is getting something that is along the lines of the F-15E, and this is probably going to be a good addition for air-to-air and air-to-ground, also for simulator. Now, next on the list, we have the Spähpanzer Luchs. This is a 8-wheeled scout vehicle armed with a 20mm autocannon that's going to be coming to Germany. This is essentially an armored fighting vehicle and a scout vehicle. It's very, very lightly armored. It is quite quick. It has a 20mm and a 7.62, and it's probably going to play like the XM800T, but with wheels. I don't really know what to say. I'm quite disappointed at the list we're seeing right now for Germany because they are getting absolutely fucked once again. Not a single top tier plane, nothing like that. Of course, this leak list is a leak list and it's absolutely nothing that has been confirmed, and it's probably very, very preliminary. Either way, I'm very disappointed that Germany isn't getting anything interesting, but what can you do? It's Germany. Moving on, Britain mains rejoice. The Tornado GR4 is also on this list. This was a midlife upgrade for the GR1, approved in 1994. Now, what's so interesting about the GR4 is that the GR4 specifically carries the AIM-132 ASRAM. Now, the ASRAM was developed to replace the AIM-9, and it is a IR missile that has a range of 25 kilometers and 50 Gs of overload. This thing is absolutely insane. Now, of course, it's too early to say if Gaijin is actually going to implement this and how it would affect top tier, although it is an IRCCM 25 kilometer 50G missile. This thing is absolutely insane. The only downside really is that the GR4 can only carry 2 of them. It is a strike aircraft, which means it's supposed to be carrying, air-to-surface missiles like the Brimstone, the Storm Shadows, and bombs like the Paveways, the Paveway 2s, the Paveway 3s, and dumb bombs. So yeah, this is probably gonna be a quite good strike aircraft for the British lineup, and I'm happy the Brits are finally getting something that's actually half decent. Next on the list, we have the Superhind. This thing is very, very funky. This thing is essentially an Mi-24 developed by South Africa, and it is on steroids. It's armed with a 20mm autocannon. It gets air-to-ground missiles, air-to-air missiles, gun pods, rocket pods, all of that good stuff. It is very, very cool, and Britain honestly needs a helicopter that isn't made out of paper, and I'm sure this thing will perform very, very well. Next on the list, we're getting the PLZ-05, which is a 155mm self-propelled howitzer for China. And that's essentially what it is. It's an SPH with a laser rangefinder, high explosive ammo, proxy fuses, etc. The whole shebang. It's probably going to perform like the M109, the VDAR, all of those vehicles. And I'm glad China is actually getting some decent artillery. Although I'm not that big of a fan of it, I don't really play China, but I'm sure the Chinese mains are going to enjoy this one. Now, next on this list, we have the Mirage 2000D RMV. This is a modernization of the Mirage 2K that improves the air-to-ground capabilities, but also the air-to-air capabilities slightly. The only real difference air-to-air wise is that it gets the Micas instead of the Magic 2s, and a bunch of guided bombs, the GBU-48s, 49s, 50s, and then anti-radiation missiles. Of course, that's nothing we're gonna see in-game. It's also getting a bunch of new avionics upgrades, better flight performance, better targeting pods, better radars, better radios, etc. So this is going to be an all-around upgrade to the Mirage 2000D. And then finally on this list, we have the Sabra or the M60T. This is essentially an M60 that has been upgraded with composite armor, a 120mm gun, and a bunch of other upgrades. This thing is super, super uninteresting in my opinion. I don't really care about the Israeli tech tree. I don't play it. I don't think it's enjoyable. This tank looks kind of funky, but it's nothing that I'm gonna play either way, so I don't really care, to be honest. But I'm sure you Israel mains are gonna like this one. Either way, that's essentially it for this leak list. I'm quite disappointed that Germany isn't getting any love, but it has been like this the past updates, and I'm sure we're gonna get something soon, although that might be cool. But right now you may be thinking, what about the vehicles that are marked as events and premiums that are just dotted lines? Well, I don't know. I'm sure we're going to be seeing some news about those in the future, but as of now, it is impossible to guess. It could be anything. Although I have a slight feeling that we're going to see a new plain premium for the Soviet tech tree, but of course, I don't really know anything. These are just purely speculations. Remember that this is a leak list, so take it with a bucket of salt because nothing is confirmed yet. The only concrete proof that we have that this could be the next update is, of course, the vehicles that have been posted in devlogs as of now, but that's really it. They could just have been added to this list to give it some sort of credibility, and we don't really know. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of the list in the comments down below. Let me know what you thought of the video in the comments down below. And as usual, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. See ya.